Morning, Annie, bonjour. Today we're having one of our monthly meetings. We wish for attending if you're on there. So, we're going to go through. On the agenda, we have the reports from the council here. We're going to review some meeting minutes. We got a couple House Representative 2B, David Subi, Barb Rieselik, the League of Women division reports got almost. We're going to do our budgets. Lori Thompson's going to go over elections, and Lisa MacArthur's going to go over some finance stuff with some of the projects that are ongoing. We're going to have a elders update from Tito, program updates from Winters Housing Authority, Community Council, some updates from the Community Councils going to be Nadawash, Pine Point, and Rice Lake. We got old business, new business signature requests, and when we go into executive, we're going to talk about enrollments. I have to sign it. We have to approve the enrollments and talk about some land stuff. So that's what we have on here so far. So we quit. I'd like to call the meeting to order. 9:20 a.m. I always like to do roll call, please, Mr. Chair.
District 1?
Here.
District 2?
Here.
District 3?
Here.
And I'm here, Mr. Chair.
We have a quorum. Next up is review and approval of the agenda. Anybody have anything to add to this agenda?
I think, Mr. Chair, the driveway up there in Race Lake, I know it's getting done, but where the funding was coming from, I think it was through the CARES Act, where you do that.
Scott?
Which project? The driveway, see the housing come up shy on that driveway. So,
At the complex?
No, the new homes they're putting 3 in behind in there. They got the spots marked out and everything. They just need a road in there. And I met with Dennis and what's his name, Mr. Gordon, and he figured it out around about 42,000. But after Road said they could bring gravel and everything, it comes down to about 25,000. So we really cut it down as much as we could. But the road's got to be put in so they can put the houses in. And then also the water and sewer, they only got 5 guys and they don't know if they can get the water and sewer. I hate to put them houses in there because if we put them houses there, it's possible they could be broken into. And there again, now Gordon said if water, and he'd be willing to help out with the water and sewer to bore under the road to get to the sewer line. And then housing said they got their own backhoes also that they can help water and sewer up dig for the line.
Is that those 10 houses they purchased, or?
Well, there's four going in each district.
Oh, yeah, okay. And did they do any other work in the other districts, Kathy or Annie?
They were trying to get them all done before fall here, but they were supposed to start in Rice Lake, and then they're going to finish it next week. So
I am unfamiliar with the projects. I'm not sure if when Lisa MacArthur comes in, if she might have some information on. But
I know we approved some, or we didn't really approve it, we discussed on last Thursday week the funding for that driveway. When I met with Dennis and Mr. Gordon, they did come up to like 25,000 cost per road. And that's using most of its own dirt to level off the road, but just the gravel. But our own water and sewer can do that. And, roads can bring in most of the gravel, so we did cut down on the expenses quite a bit.
This guy has a possible use CARES Act or Len?
say that again, please.
On driveways or accessibility to putting homes in and sewer systems. I think it's probably under some type of health, I would think, or some type of.
Well, just so you know, they're going to come up short in District 3 and District 2 also.
Yeah, so I was thinking about too, the whole project, what's going to cost us?
For all 3,
Yeah.
but the projects were approved.
Yeah.
They did find that in the minutes.
It'd be a little bit difficult, I think, to use like the coronavirus relief fund. But
I guess there were other funds that were allocated under the CARES Act, and I haven't had an opportunity to talk with Scott about that. Like, there was, aid to tribal governments and BIA money, and that, is self-governance money that really doesn't have restrictions on
They
it.
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we got some extra aid to the tribal governments through the VA.
That's 2.6 million, I think that was, so.
Yeah, and so like that money doesn't have the same restrictions on it as the coronavirus relief fund.
Okay.
So the coronavirus relief fund, it has all those, it has to be tied to the pandemic and it has to be spent by December 30th. And it has all those other requirements and all the guidance on it. The extra money that we got in aid to tribal government, that's self-governance, and under the compact, I'm sure that the tribe could reprogram that money to whatever.
But we'll take care of
priorities.
it. It'll get paid.
And also, Mr. Chair, the water and sewer, they only got 5 guys and they're stretched thin and they're getting hammered about, no, can't come
Yeah.
by, and then, they were asking if they could get back at least 3 more employees there too. Because
Lori?
they only got 5 employees right now since that.
Yeah, Lori will check on that. We'll get some back. Get back to you. We're gonna have these
They're
projects.
getting hammered. I mean, that guy told me yesterday, he said, you guys are gonna have to get us some help. He said,
Okay.
We're getting,
Okay. We good for it.
and that's it, Chairman, thank you.
Anybody else?
Just in terms of an agenda item, I would request an update on White Earth Enterprises and a recommendation to reconstitute the board.
Okay.
And then we'll also have a resolution for LLCs. I don't know if it'll go to signature request or what, but that could go to enterprises.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add him. I just want to talk a little bit about growing and stuff like that for our enrolled members. So I want to talk a little bit about the hemp.
Okay, the hemp, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Cheryl, did you wanna do something with the indirect at all?
Yeah, I would like to also add some discussion on indirect, which will probably be into the executive session. So,
Yeah, I think that Scott, I know that, indirect is something that we have to do like a year ahead of time. I know this year I just signed up document for 12%. It's up to go up to as far as 18, I think, of our funds that we get through all of our grants. It's a percentage of the grants we get to use for administration costs or jobs or.
Currently, we charge all of our departments a 12% of their expenses that go into the indirect. And the indirect is renegotiated with the federal government, and it starts October 1 of the new year. So as early between February and May, we are looking at things that we might consider adding into the indirect cost, and have to submit those early, and everything that's in now. The next year's indirect has been approved for 10/1 of 2000 through 9/30 of 2021. So most of the times, some things you can add in mid-year, the things that are non-controversial. What are the things that are non-controversial? Everybody in finance is in indirect because they work for everybody. Everybody in HR. Everybody in IT. But if somebody wants to add a new position that's never been in the indirect, you have to wait. You may have to wait till 10/1 of 21 to add it for the following year.
okay, so there has been no new ones added then.
I would have to visit with Tracy and see if there was any new ones that were added for this coming 10/1.
Well, maybe I should be more specific, indirect personnel, the folks that are being recalled.
Well, if they were in the indirect before, I'm in the indirect. If I was laid off and I'm called back now, I stay in the indirect. So if I've been laid off temporarily due to COVID, my position is still there. It never went away.
Okay, well, maybe I need a list of employees that are indirect then.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
All right, Kathy, anything to add?
Nothing.
I guess one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up is the OPG. I'm not sure, Al, did we ever close that out totally? I know you did a report here about 2.5 months ago that We talked about your final, I know you and Ronnie worked on the final report and talked about the findings and stuff, but I was just wondering if we ever put a halt to that or stopped it or.
Yeah, so we asked Veronica and Elizabeth in April to discontinue the portions of it. And so they were wrapping it up, and then, and that's basically it. It's, I do know the IRS is poking around. I don't know what their status is. Not that they would tell us what their status is, because they've got their own little thing that they do. And so, the other thing I would add is I did get a request, and I think Scott was gonna bring it up today, for a band member had requested unredacted release of all the reports. And so, my understanding was, because we released an executive summary by motion.
Yep.
That if they want us to release unredacted, that I would just request that we pass a motion for that, so.
Yeah, that would probably be the best thing.
Okay, to give the band member access to those reports?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Unredacted.
okay, so we'll bring it up probably in the end of it, or we get to the end of it, is that fine? All right, guys, motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Cheryl, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, review and approval of the meeting minutes, special meeting on 6/22/19.
Those are meeting minutes that, when I did inventory, I came across those. Joan has been the recorder. So we had to get her notes and.
So there was, she didn't annotate who made motions and seconds on them, so it's just a correction. Those signatory requests.
Okay. All right, we're going to looking at those. Is there anything on the water ice so far, how much we bought?
Not anymore.
Okay. I know they're so high, aren't they?
Yeah,
We still got races out there, quite a few.
yeah, but, now we got another competitor coming into the land, it's paying $250.
250, we're still paying 3, ain't we?
Yeah, we're still paying 3, but she's now paying 3 because she's so far over here for them to bring it, so now she's coming to the land and. But I don't see no problem with that, I mean, if she wants to raise it back to pay $350, it's better for our members, you know.
Maybe we should up ours. I don't know. The rice is all right now, we're close to it, so.
I bought some the other day, it's didn't get finished up now, it's been finished on about 52-53%.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's getting there. But, they are investigating that, they did break into our truck with them, still over $1,000, right?
Yeah.
They did check the cameras, but whoever it is had masks on. And I tried to explain to them not to leave that up there, they said, oh, we got a big log, they said, oh, take to the boat, but that's what
Yeah, I don't know, it's like it's easier to do that than just grab a canoe and go racing and make probably $1,000, you know?
oh, isn't there even people on the landing stealing people's
Yeah,
rights, right?
yeah, that's the other problem is that there's some vehicle up there stealing rice on a vehicle, but I've always told people, never leave your rice in a vehicle because somebody busted a window out and stole out of the vehicle, stole a phone, $100. You know, I know that because it's been quite nice you're telling me that my grandson got blamed because he could have got pickle, but they were just coming off the lake and they were loaded up and they were coming up and they seen that pickle coming out, so we blamed him. He's only 14, him and his partner was like 13, 14. But yeah, I don't know who that is, but it's a red pickle thing. So we won't, yeah, but conservation area officers out with it, so they're gonna start watching and
Okay, we'll be done with the meeting minutes. Motion to approve the meeting minutes for 6/22/19 and regular meeting for 5/29/20, 7/30 of 20, and 8/26 of 30, or 20 of each.
motion.
Motion by Ray,
Second.
second by Kathy, all in favor?
Um,
Motion carries. Next up, we got the reports from the council, you know, chairman is first up, and, you know, I guess this past month has been somewhat, you know, really good, and, you know, talking to the governor yesterday, and that was something that went really good, I thought, with me and Governor Waltz, and, you know, we talked about a couple things, and the first one was our was our medical marijuana that we're looking at planning to get through, and like we sent an email a couple days ago to the Commissioner of Health, Commissioner McKeag, no, not McKeag, Malcolm, sorry, and we're going to meet next Tuesday, so good things down that path of with medical marijuana, and we're still working hard on that project. We're working hard on the enterprises, getting our enterprises board up and going, and, you know, getting that all sorted out and, you know, fixed. We're looking at doing a lot of different other items and other things out there that we're working on. I know that there's construction going on over at the new clinic over here, and I stopped over yesterday and, you know, asked a couple questions about some of the labor processes over there, and, you know, I know Lenny's revising some of the Terrell ordinance, so we're looking at how we can put more of our band members to work, and, you know, I know day labor is back up and going. They're looking for more work, so that's something that I think with the community and the reps that are here that we got to find them more jobs to do. I know that they're looking at the Christian retreat to clean up or deconstruct. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now, and of course, people are still racing. We still have our membership out there on the lake that are still knocking race, upper race and lower race. I think they're getting still raced. I know that we're still bringing in race to our buyers. So other than that, I mean, I'm not sure if I forgot anything, but that's about the update I have for this month right now. So I want to say miigwech and, yeah, keep tuning in. So, all right, Al.
Thanks, Mike, Mr. Chair. I just want to welcome our guests that we have here today. We do have some guests here today, but I do want to remind tribal members to, if you haven't done so, please fill out the census. It's really important that we get that filled out and that information put in there, because that does add for our head count. It does affect our funding. And so if you haven't done the census, please do the census, really important. Also, for those folks that are looking at voting in the state or federal elections, please register to vote. I know League of Women Voters are going to be here today. They're a nonpartisan group. I know, talk to them. They know how to do all that stuff. Also, I do want to thank the White Earth Council of Elders yesterday, and the Elder Affairs folks. We had breakfast with them yesterday, and we are working. I know Cheryl and I and the rest of the council, we're all working on trying to get this commission put together for our elders, and so we want to get some help for them, and so it's really important as we move forward. And I do want to remind folks, the next TEC meeting is in, I think, October 23rd. That's when it is, right, Lenny? Definitely October 23rd. It'll be in Grand Portage. So I plan on driving up there, Mr. Chair. Hopefully see you guys up there. We do have new appointments for some of the committees, so this will be a good chance for you guys to get introduced to that. In other words, we've met with some of the commissioners, as the chairman was saying. Very productive conversations as we move forward. I have asked, once I complete my comments, I have asked Scott Omlid and Scott Stevens to come in and discuss the casino finances and RBC finances. They do have a couple of budget resolutions to approve, Mr. Chair, and I'll let them talk that piece. When Aisha comes down, she'll talk about also an inventory of minutes that we've done. And so I've just asked her to come in and talk about that piece. So it'll just be a couple minutes per, Mr. Chair. And so, yeah, real excited, glad to be here. And so I'll turn it over to Scott and Scott.
Good morning, and thank you. So one of the first things that we wanted to do is we have upcoming budget resolutions for fiscal year 21 for RBC and Shooting Star. They're probably in the minutes there, in the notes. Resolution for White Earth RBC is fiscal year 21 operating budget projects the following for the Reservation Business Committee: $11,560,303 in revenue, $16,688,383 in expenses, with an overall deficit in the general fund for next fiscal year of $5,128.80.
$5,120,080.
Yes.
So you're seeking approval of this budget, Scott?
Yes.
Okay, I guess. All right, guys, so we need a motion for FY 2021 for the pass the budget for our White Earth Nation. I know this year's been kind of stressful for us for these budgets, with COVID and, our casino shut down, and I know it affected our bottom line, the general fund, and, I think overall, with Scott working on this and getting some other stuff going on and getting it done, I think, going into next year with going over budget a little bit, I mean, I think that we will get through this. I think our casinos bouncing back pretty good. We're working on other economic development drivers that are going to hopefully support us in the near future and get us going, and and bringing us back to normal speed so we can bring everyone back, hopefully. Because everything affects this budget affects everything, affects the jobs, the people that are sitting out there looking in. We have to, I think this is the pieces that we as our council that we work together, and we tried, we sit here and we find solutions for for our projects, our departments, our divisions, and our enterprises. So it's important that this process is done every year. It's normal. I think last year we went in with, what was it, a $4 million deficit?
I think it was, let's see your report.
Yeah, 4.1, I think it was. And this year, I think we're gonna go in at like close to 5,
It
so
was 3.9.
3.9, so yeah, so. But it's kind of a process that we go in and we, Scott sits down with us 2 to 3 times and, we go down this list and we try to shave as much as we can off without, affecting the services that we give our people. And, so I think this is something that's important that, membership becomes, more kind of looks at some of this, and I think it's important that we're working hard, so. Motion to approve FY21. Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor?
And
Motion carries. Which,
So we will share this budget with our directors for the upcoming year, and at the same time, we will share with them that just because there's a budget there, doesn't mean they have to spend all the money. They should get value for it and spend the money they need, but just because they have money doesn't mean they have to spend it all. So we'll follow up with that. The next one is we have the budget for Shooting Star Casino. It's included in your packet. Fiscal year 2021 operating budget projects the following for Shooting Star Casino: $83,293,368 in revenue, $78,836,628 in expenses, with an overall income of $4,456,740 in earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization projected at $11,332,606. So that's the budget that has been proposed based upon all the things with COVID that have been occurring, and the budget that they are proposing to move forward for fiscal year 2021.
any questions on this, council? There again, when we passed our Shooting Star, budget, a lot of hard work went into this budget too. I know that Scott and his team worked hard on this budget, and it's like our Shooting Stars is basically our nest egg, that supports a lot of the jobs on the reservation here. We get an annual, that comes back from them, $9 to $11 million a year that we get a year to support our police department, all of our general fund jobs. And it's important that that they stay up on top of it. But right, like during the pandemic, we're not getting that money that's coming in, and one thing that's kind of, I know that hurts us is that borders closed. So I know that we reached out to Amy Klobuchar, and we're trying to get the Canadian border open too. So, but I think all in all, I think a lot of hard work went into this, and I think that being optimistic, and I think that Shooting Star is going to bounce back real quick. And I know we had a good team over there. So,
Mr. Chair, I may, from Shooting Star's standpoint, the COVID impact and, putting this budget together with our team, as you said, was, very difficult. As you said, the Canadian border, and that being a large percentage of our business, and Shooting Star is known for shows as well, and just the COVID impact overall. And we hope to perform better than this, as Scott commented. We're going to do the same with our directors and management groups, and we're going to manage and make sure our money is spent wisely.
So this budget is based upon, projection of what is happening today. Last year's budget, or the fiscal year 2020, the year that we're currently in, prior to about March 15th, prior to COVID hitting, they were probably having their best year ever. And they were on the track for a fantastic year. And of course, we had this big bump in the road. But last year, for fiscal year 20, we had budgeted about $9 million of income and $20 million of EBITDA. So this year's budget, based upon the current and what they project, is about 50% of what what it would be without COVID. So if they do a good job, if the world returns to somewhat pre-COVID times, there's opportunity to do better than this budget, but this is a realistic budget based upon what's happening today.
Okay, motion to approve Shooting Stars FY21 budget.
Motion.
Motion by Cheryl, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor?
Okay.
And Anisha?
Motion carries. Thank you, Scott. Do we need Scott still here? Okay. We're good, Scott, thank you, Sean.
One of the other things we're going to talk maybe before you leave is about the CARES budgets that have been approved so far.
Okay.
Budget one was a lot of public safety in the EOC department, every new nutrition, food shelf, essential PPE for us in the casino. And we had budgeted about 9.8 million there. There was a couple projects that were on that budget that got canceled. They didn't need to go through. So we reduced that budget to about 9.3. Casino and has been buying a lot of protective equipment as well as us. And the second budget was for about 7.1 million. And it was mainly the departments, Shooting Star, as well as a lot of our departments to buy COVID-related types of items. We're moving forward on that. Every day, getting more stuff ordered, getting more stuff in-house, on premises, and using. CARES Act 3 was the COVID assistance to members, to tribal members, the $500. It was budgeted for $8.3 million because there was like 16,600 adult members over 18. As of yesterday, we have written 7,300 checks. That's at about 3.6 million that we paid out. There are more that are coming in.
Yep.
Probably won't get to 16,600 checks possibly, I doubt, but those are.
Do we extend that?
We will do it. I'll put that down. Yeah.
So, we're moving forward. So based upon the three packages that we've done, we have about $7.6 million of CARES money that has not been allocated to a project or projects. So just wanted to share that with you.
How much?
7.6 million roughly.
We can probably have another discussion about that. Probably in the next upcoming meeting, so.
Yep.
I know we got some pretty big ticket items out there that we can look at, going through and helping out for next year's capital, So we'll talk about that probably in the upcoming meeting, so.
Yeah, you had something on the CARES money at the casino?
Right.
Yeah.
I can share that.
Yeah, can you share that real quick?
So, as Scott commented, when we received the CARES Act funding, we, the casino, received 3.5 million from the tribe to utilize for CARES purposes, for operations and just PPE and other equipment to be able to operate our casino. At this point, we have utilized 1.6 million of those funds. And still have, ongoing expenses as well. But at this point with that, the remaining, from the initial 3.5, we have 1.9 remaining in our funds. Yeah, and as I said, we still have some additional needs. And we as well are looking at some additional capital. We have made some purchases for some installs. Some of the big key items that we had are going to be motion detectors, touchless entry doors for our casinos. Those are going to be added and they're slated to be put in prior to December. That's in motion now. So that's one of them, along with cleaning supplies, additional cleaning supplies, PPE equipment that's ongoing because of the additional cleaning needs for our hotel. we needed to upgrade our washers and dryers to larger capacity units as well. Those are some of the key things. Some training software for the entire department in regards to getting out of the classroom environment and doing more online training, so they can do it from their PCs. Some other things were basically services or laptops. Some purchases were made there so that people could work remote at times of need, and those types of things that are just ongoing. So that's where we sit with ours, and we've been doing at this point.
Good. And I know, excuse me. That was one thing I mentioned too, that I talked to Judy Dodd and also the Shooting Star Casinos IT people, and mentioned that some of these ticket items that we need to get processed, like some of this paperless stuff, and I talked about some of the even our websites that need to be upgraded, and especially our website back here is like we need to have it more I guess user friendly and have more features on there, so our membership and also our public could have more access to looking at some other stuff. And I think we could do a lot more with this, and I think we have time to get this done, I hope, so that'd be nice.
You know, one of the things that is in the signature request is a letter to the delegation in Washington, D.C. regarding the funds and specific requests that we have to extend the deadline and then expand the use of funds that's allowable. So I know Congress is feverishly working on that continuing resolution to keep the government open, and hopefully there'll be some good provisions in that resolution that will help us with the. Well, they need to have it done by next Wednesday, the 30th, otherwise the government shuts down.
Okay.
And the last thing I got then is just Aisha, just 2 minutes if she could present this. And basically what I'm at, well, I'll let you present. To talk about these two. Yeah.
So for 2015 minutes, at the request of Secretary Treasurer, the recorder conducted an inventory of minutes and found that the FY15 meeting minutes are counted with the exception of 3 minutes. The inventory will continue until found. The originals for FY15 need to be accounted for. The copies require the signature of the Secretary Treasurer. And then for FY18 minutes, at the request of Secretary Treasurer, the recorder conducted an inventory of minutes and found that the FY18 meeting minutes are counted, with the exception of 6 minutes, 4:30:18, 5:14:18, 5:29:18, 6:18:18, 6:25:18, and 6:27:18 need to be signed by the Secretary Treasurer. For the FY19 minutes for June 22nd, 2019 need to be corrected and approved. They are cash for consideration.
So in other words, Mr. Chairman, for these, for the 15 minutes, all I'm seeking is just ratification that I can sign these minutes, because these are before my term. I'm just seeking ratification. That's okay, Lenny? And then for these, for 4:30, 5:14, 5:29, 6:18, 6:25, and 6:27 of 18. I'm also just seeking ratification so I can sign those minutes as well. And then we'll just continue to look for those 3 minutes from 15 that are still outstanding.
Yeah, you need to have the signed minutes and they're official. So
Okay.
it'd be good to give that one that.
Do you want us to motion that then?
Yeah, I should.
Okay. So motion to have Alan ratify these meeting minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Cheryl, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Scott, do you want to talk about this other one?
Yeah, sure, that's a Pat Butler.
Can we talk about the Burma Bank?
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, we're here though.
Okay, so I have all the paperwork. We passed a resolution earlier that was for the payoff of Bank of New York Mellon bonds, which is the bonds on this building here. And that motion was passed on July 2nd of 20 to make that move. And at that time, when we were first talking about them, the interest rate was, the current interest rate on the Bank of New York Mellon bonds is 6 3/8%. And Bremer was proposing that the new interest rate was going to be in the high 3%. And so we've gotten all the paperwork, we've gotten approval from the casino's attorney, Leif Rasmussen, all the documents. And the document in the loan interest rate is now down to 3% instead of 6 3/8. So we're going to be refinancing. In doing that, we're going to be paying $99,500 a month instead of $113 a month. We'll probably save about $750,000 in interest payments over the 5 years and everything. So we're moving forward with that. One bit of good news that out of this is it was originally put in as a $7.5 million loan. One of the things the Bank of New York Mellon required is we have money on deposit in case we defaulted and we couldn't make our bond payments. So they had a bunch of our money on hand in case we didn't pay. So they would pay their bondholders twice a year, I think in June and December. And so when we closing this deal with a $7.5 million loan, there actually is about $2.4 million that the Bank of Mellon will release. So our net payment is like, we're going to end up with the $7.5 million loan, but we're going to get this $2.4 million back that will go in the general fund that will help be a cushion to support this year's general fund and hopefully support next year's general fund. So maybe we won't be as short as we are projecting. So that's good news. So
That is.
we don't have to spend it yet, though.
Yeah. No spending.
We're going to rely on them to be prudent financial stewards of the money. So we did do a resolution, like I said, back in July 2nd approving this, but Bremer actually has another resolution that we have to pass and number, and it's just a little bit more detail. It talks about the $7.5 million, it talks about the approval of the documents, it talks about the approval of legal provisions, talks about all the things that they have to put in place. Because what they send us is we got a term note here saying it's $7.5 million. And they have a term agreement that's, 20, 35 pages long that talks about it. They have what they call a springing deposit agreement. That means that if sometime in the future during the loan we couldn't pay weren't making our payments timely, they would invoke something of this nature, just like the Bank of New York did with us and had that money on deposit. They would do things of that nature. So I am asking for approval of this resolution today and signature of all of these loan documents today. So then everything will get, after it's signed today, I will provide these documents to Bremer Bank and they will get this deal done.
Motion.
Okay, motion to approve the payoff of the Bank of New York and
The resolution.
the resolution. Is that it, Scott? on that?
Yep.
Okay. Motion by Kathy, second. Second by Ray, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Have
Chair,
a good day, all.
Michael,
Thank
I
you.
get motion on the Renewal joint venture.
Scott?
Okay.
Okay, you're up next on this next one too, so.
Okay, the next one is a resolution relating to the Tornado Wash joint venture. And does somebody have it so I can see some information? So we are re-engaging the architect to come back and start doing some things. And what they have to do is they have to do some redesign services because we eliminated the link between the two buildings. They have to do a new civil engineering design, because when they originally did this, water and sewer weren't in place, and now they're in place. They gotta look at the elevation, look at the things of that nature. They gotta look at the document review, so nothing is moved or changed or any bad things, and they have to look at new possible codes that have come into existence. DSGW. So with Michael Averdu, he's one of their principals. In the redesign of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing. We're at a point now that we've been so far that we really need a detailed third-party cost estimate. We need that cost estimate so that we can come in and be prepared to go out and say, this is how much it's going to cost. Are we going to pursue new market tax credits? What other avenues can we pursue? I know that one of the things we're going to pursue is the Otto Bremer Trust for a grant for some of this money. $1 million would be a big amount, but that would help. We will then engage them to, once we get this information, and then it's still a goal based upon whatever the estimates are, to put the bidding in place. So our goal would be bid it like in January, February, let the bid so that it would start construction as soon as load limits are off next spring. Lead consultant. This is a person that works with and does all the paperwork, because this has to be a silver lead building. And there's a lot of paperwork and controlling all the contractors to make sure that's done. And then the reimbursable costs. So at this time, we need a resolution to approve. We won't be spending the $22,000 until we go to construction for the lead consultant, but it would be up to the other amounts. So in here we have therefore be resolved, the Whiteearth Reservation Business Committee hereby approves the DSGW Architect's proposal to redesign and cost estimate for a Nainawash joint venture clinic at a cost not to exceed $105,000. And this will get us all the way to the point of getting ready to bid. Well, it'll get us through the bid. It will get us to the point of accepting bids and letting contracts.
Yeah, we need that, because I know in the past, council, we had a lot of, we were unclear what it was going to cost, even though we did this many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that those costs are going to fluctuate because of the water and sewer lines and, what the new behavioral health building is put back there. So like you said, is like we have to do this in order to get correct numbers, up to date numbers on what it's going to cost us. So,
right.
Okay, motion. Motion by Kathy, second. Second to approve the. Second by Cheryl to approve the joint venture DSG Architects to update us on the project. So joint venture project. So up to not to exceed $105,000. So motion by Kathy, second by Cheryl. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So on July 10th, I was here and we visited about our health insurance renewal, and was asked to be brought back at this regular meeting. And I'm just going to reiterate for the 10/1/2020 health insurance renewal highlights. There's not going to be any premium increase for employees or the organization. This will be a second year of no premium increases. There was no increase in 10/1/20 or now 10/1/21. One of the main reasons that's been is because in 2019 we were approved for Medicare-like rates with tribal members that are PRC eligible. So sometimes when they are in the hospital with very expensive claims, we can pay a lower rate. And we have saved approximately $1 million with that new program over the last 18 months, which has controlled our cost. So we're not proposing any premium increase. One of the things that we're working on right now is tribal sponsorship for employees. Same thing, if they are IHS eligible and we get somebody with a high cost item, we are gonna put them on a government insured plan. We are gonna leave them on our plan, we're gonna put them on this other plan, the other plan will be primary. Maybe it's because they're gonna have a hip or a knee. Maybe it's because we are doing data mining and the claims that they're going and we see they're headed for dialysis. Maybe they're headed for Hep C. This is a type of program that, number one, will be good for IHS because we'll put them on an insurance plan. IHS will be able to bill when these people go in for services. It'll be good for our employee that has the most unhealthy conditions, that they're going to get extra care. And it will also be good for our health insurance plan, which so many people of our members are on. It will control those costs and keep them down. So we're moving forward. We're staying with the same stop loss company. We're staying with the same insurance company. It's Blue Link, which is the old CCS, which is the old Blue Cross in Minnesota. One increase, they're going to charge a 70-cent per employee per month increase. 2-year contract, it's going to be in the first year, so it's going to be about a $7,000 increase per year. We also reviewed our stop losses. Stop losses, a person goes in and if they are really sick, our plan pays the first $100,000 of the claim and the insurance company pays everything above it. And we have looked at the last 8 to 10 years history and we are proposing as the benefits committee and the broker to increase that stop loss from 100,000 to 200,000, which will save us $700,000 in fixed cost. Now, we will have some additional cost because we're going to pay that extra, up to that extra 100, but when we look at the last 8 to 10 years, we think that this is the right thing to do as well to control our costs, and we're hoping that between this and the tribal sponsorship for our employees, that hopefully we can continue to hold our premium steady without reducing benefits. Because what's happening out there in most of the rest of the world is insurance costs are going up so much that companies, the only way they can hold the line is to cut your benefits or increase your deductible. And we have done neither of those. So we just want to share that with you, and the committee makes that recommendation. We want to make sure that you're aware, and if you have any questions, and make sure we just have approval to do that.
Need a motion on that, Scott?
I think it would be good.
Motion to approve the
Committee recommendations.
committee recommendations for our tribal health insurance for all our employees.
Yes.
Motion? Motion by Ray, second? Second by Cheryl, all in favor? Motion carried.
Did you want to talk about the OGP audits and the release now, or are we going to talk about it later?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, so there has been requests apparently from tribal members. Originally, earlier in the year, there was a summary release of the OGP audits. And so the question is, can we release the full OGP audits?
Alan wanted a motion on that too, didn't you?
Need a motion because we passed the executive summary on it. So if you guys want to release the full thing unredacted, then I just ask for a motion.
Okay, motion to release the OGP, what's it called, the executive summary.
Yeah,
No, not the executive summary, the
The
full audit.
unredacted summary.
Yeah, we'll get them all put together and we'll send them down to Lenny before we send them out.
Probably some Connie.
Yeah, I'll send them with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, motion for this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Cheryl, second.
Second.
Second by Ray, all in favor?
Okay.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
I'll leave our documents for signature with Bremer, with Maria, that we can get signed today.
I know we got some guests here, so I think we'll hold off on the district reports right now. We'll get back to them.
I better let Mr. Sue go
Yeah,
first.
yes. So we got two, or multiple guests here. Subi's here, come on up and say a few words to our membership that's watching and address the council.
Well, thank you everyone for allowing me to be here. This is really interesting. Just, I didn't really have any clue of what you guys have to do here. I mean, this is a big deal. We've got a lot of things to think about. I have to say before I even start that I was in the concrete business and this building is beautiful. And I just would have been proud if I had done that work outside there. So you guys had some nice work done. You should all be proud of this building. It's real fun to see. I'm running for District 2B representative. I'm a DFL candidate, and all I really came for is to find out. I can tell you about myself, but I don't want to waste a lot of your time because I'm not that interesting. But I would like to know, I would like you people to get a hold of me at any time to tell me what your concerns are, because as I've discovered over the last 6 months, just driving around, I don't know, maybe some of you seen us, we pull a trailer around, we call it a whistle stop campaign. We don't know, during the COVID virus, we didn't know how else to get our name out. Some of you may have received our cards that our grandchildren drew pictures on to kind of give you how we feel. We started, my wife Sally here, really just my co-candidate. We started this campaign even before I decided to run, we started looking into the voting, especially on the reservation. We went to the Becker County Auditor in February and asked them about why voting was so low, perhaps, what they thought about it, why it might be so low up here. And they told us about they were getting registration forms, and if they weren't filled out correctly, they almost said this with some glee. They had, one of the helpers there had a smile on her face, and she said, "We toss them in the trash." We talked to the Secretary of State about that, and there's a statute in Minnesota that says they have to, if someone fills out their registration form incorrectly, they must contact that person, either by sending the form back or call them and tell them that it was filled out incorrectly. And the problem was that line 4 that says, "What is your physical address?" Line 5 says, if you receive your mail elsewhere from your physical address, put your mailing address. So a lot of people have post office boxes. They immediately filled out post office box and said, "Hey, this is good to go." And then in the meantime, the election comes along and they're not registered. They don't know a thing about it. It kind of passes. You know how things get, you kind of forget about it. So some of you may have received these little packets. We sent out hundreds of packets to people on the reservation. Sally made the envelopes out of handmade paper, and they had the registration form. They had a letter from Doyle Turner, and then we had a little letter from us on the back saying how to fill this registration form out. There was actually even we looked up everybody's address and found out where they vote, if they vote by mail. And so we actually sent a stamped envelope with the county auditor's office, or county officer's address, county auditor's office address on it, or where that person should send it. So we're hoping that might give some incentive to you folks to vote. And I think it's just absolutely so critical that people vote. I know you're going to have some league people you're talking about voting to, and we just really think it's important. I know you hear this all the time, but your vote is your voice. I think you need to take part in this business because people are making decisions for you. And you may not like the decisions they're making. You may not like what's going on in the legislature. They may just disregard you. And I think that's just not right. You need to be represented. And that's what I'm here for. I would like to hear from you. I would certainly like to represent you. And if you have any questions for me right now, I'd be glad to answer them. But like I said, you guys are busy here, so. I don't blame you. You're well. I was waiting for. Oh, okay.
Question for you. the White Earth people recently voted in a referendum to approve medical marijuana on the reservation, and I'm curious as to what your position is on that and what your position is on White Earth regulating medical marijuana within the boundaries of the reservation.
I think it's a good step for you. I think it's something that a lot of other states have done. I think it's been successful. I think the product itself is a helpful medical product. I think it can be, I don't know how things are gonna start to go in the whole nation. I see the trend of where it's going. I think it's going to finally eventually be legalized, but that may take decades. I think it's a good idea for you. I think it can be something that you might be able to actually even earn some money on. If you don't, at least it'll be available for people that it works for. And I think it does work for some people to ease the pain that they can sort of get off of the really terrible narcotics. I know they're necessary for some people, but boy, I've had back surgeries before, and those narcotics are they're killers if you ask me. I just couldn't get off of them soon enough. So that's how I would feel about it. I support you.
Thank you.
That was about 900 and some against, or for, and 100 against it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a huge
Something
difference
like
you
that.
had there. Yeah. I think that you showed a lot of support for that. But anyway, I really want to reiterate that my line and my phone number is out there. It's open. I want to hear from you if you think that you're underrepresented in the state legislature. You have Peggy Flanagan in there. I think now if you get the Democrats, if we can get the Senate turned and get this into so that this bicameral legislature is not, as you probably all know, it's the only legislature in the nation that's half Democrat, half Republican. So I think they need to get their act together. I would love to see them, the Senate turn, but even if they don't, we need to get the bonding bill passed to get some jobs in these areas. Like I said, I was in the concrete business for 43 years, and I know how important jobs are. I know how important living wages are. That's how I really started. And I heard you mention that everything's intertwined. It really is all interconnected. With childcare, education, healthcare, it's all interconnected, and it's all difficult. But we need to have people that will be willing to compromise. I know Alan is. I think that would be what I could do. I think that our existing legislator is kind of a just say no candidate or legislator. So I would be there to really help you. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And nice to see you.
I'd just like to comment, I think you're on the right track here of how you're going about the res, because if you remember the late Senator Wellstone came on the res with his little green bus here in the back, and he toured the res quite often, and he made quite a difference on the reservation of his little bus, and God rest his soul, but
God rest his soul. I think that could be, there's some more people that need to come here. When Tina Smith came to Detroit Lakes, I got a call from one of her staffers saying that we wouldn't be able to meet with her, and I said, I wouldn't even care if I meet with her. I'd love to take her up here and go through the car wash, go through Rice Lake, go through Biker. Let's show these people, instead of showing them the best of everything, show them what's maybe not the best. There's work to be done, and I'd like to help you with it.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yes, I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You're doing great.
And Ray, thank you to you for the nice welcoming you gave to us when we were in the Rice Lake community. And we had such a fun day there, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming.
It was a beautiful ceremony for the poor young woman that lost her life, and then we got such a kick out of the demolition derby. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. So, thank you.
We good.
Thank you for stopping by. You're good.
Mr. Chair, also before I do my part, can we bring the real?
Yes. Ladies, come on up, you can sit at the end now. I'll sit up here. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you again. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak in front of you. I am representing today the League of Women Voters in Park Rapids area. We are a nonpartisan group. Our goal is education on issues. We also have a big thrust towards registering people to vote, and our thrust this year is getting absentee ballots. But what I would like to ask you permission for is to put a table with voter registration materials in this office, your casino back areas, and the college. Just so we can help get your people registered. We really have heard so much about how it's a problem for many of these people to get registered, and we would like to help with that.
I know at the college, you'll have to reach out to Lauren Legault and the Table Board of Trustees, which is no problem. You know, for us at the RBC, we're actually officially closed still. So I'm not sure how many, I know we have a few, probably about 100 employees that show up here to do their work still. I guess you could put the table and chairs up in the concourse area by the front entrance if you'd like, or casino might be more amped up by the hotel or otherwise, and in between the hotel and the casino. You can put a table there. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
that
then,
would be awesome.
have you thought about reaching out to any of the community councils? Maybe some of the reps can give them some contact information, so that you can attend one of like the community council meeting like in Race Lake or Nato Wash or Pine Point, and then because those community councils, like, they're actually representing the people in that community, and so then I think that they would have good contacts with actually getting people registered to vote.
A wonderful suggestion. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, if somebody could give me some information.
Yeah, well, I'll get the contact information, and then, like, what's the best way to reach out to you?
My number is Barb, and it's 218-252-2828.
2828. Okay. I'll get some of that contact information from you guys before the end of the day, and then I'll get that out to you so that you can maybe go to. And I guess I'm not sure how the community councils over here are doing, if they're meeting on Zoom or whatever, but we'll get you the information anyway, and then you can get on those community council agendas, and they can help you with actually, you know, because I think in this election with COVID, we really need to take that extra step of actually reaching out to people, I mean, in a safe way, you know, and it really has to be the people on the ground, you know, and that's where I think the community council members are the ones who really are the foot soldiers or the boots on the ground in the community. They know the people, and if we can do what we can to help those community council members, give them the information they need so that they can be getting the information to their community members in terms of registering, and I mean, even doing absentee ballot requesting, voting, or mail-in, whatever it is, just making sure that we get.
The problem is everyone is so used to going over to the firehouse, you know, and they closed it down. And so they're gonna.
And that's in Nato Watch.
Yeah. And so I just tell people that, you know, follow the instructions, that, you know, you get on your absentee vote. Now I don't even want to bother. You know, that's the attitude. And fighting that is really hard.
It is, and we really need to, because this election is very important.
I was wondering, how many community council meetings do you have?
Once a month.
The community councils meet once a month, but there are several community councils for each of the communities.
I got 3, so we need to act fast.
Yeah.
And we do got some of the community councils coming on today. I see Edelard, Pine Point, and Race Lake are on the
Yeah.
list, to give a talk.
So there's sort of a list of the community councils.
And Maria has a list of phone numbers for everybody.
Yeah, they-
Oh, okay, perfect, yeah, well,
That's
that's,
names and numbers and all that.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
she can give you a list of the contacts.
thank you so much, okay. Thank you, I appreciate all the info I can get on that, and we'll do what we can to get everybody registered.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
I mean, her request was to put a table up, and I just want to make sure council's okay with the table going up at least at the casino.
Sorry with me.
Great.
So you're,
As long as you're masked up and you're safe.
Okay.
Go through our stations or
yeah.
Well, thank you. You have a great
Well,
day.
thank you, Barb.
You too. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
All
you.
right. To the district reps, where do you want to start it off? And
Yeah,
we'll take a break here for that, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will, you know, the cameras in our building up there, you know, there's 8 cameras up there, only 4 are working. The one that did get the picture up there of them getting the rice, you couldn't really see it. As I said, whoever it was pretty sneaky in what they were doing, but I know if we'd had the other camera hooked up, we could have gotten better pictures of them. But as is, we only had 1 camera, there was a bus kind of blocking that, so we couldn't get actually good pictures of them. But out of 8 cameras up there, we only got 4 cameras working. I'd like to get some other ones working. And possibly get one more up there for the back side of the building. And the new moms and mats, I'm getting questions as to, you know, why come we built that? We haven't moved in there. We're supposed to be in there in May. Just something that I'm getting asked
Yeah.
about. So, you know, that's this nice big building. They aren't using it. It's supposed to be open in May. You know, our demo and our little deal up there we had, as she said, you know, it went very good. I'm very pleased with our community council on that. You can see here's our shirts that we got, Jack Pine, COVID smash 2020.
Oh, I like that.
So it went good. It was kind of raining, and so that's what made it so funny, because everybody was slipping around in the mud and falling, but that all went good, and I'm very proud of our. And then we got our walk and our call this Sunday. We got our walk. I think it starts at 9 at the old Lodge Lake there. And then there'll be a feast and then a little powwow. I'm sure Mr. Fox will give an update on that when he gets on. So I'll leave that to him. And then I know Kathy had said something about last date for the COVID funds. And I just heard we were going to extend that out. Is that what we were talking about? Because a lot of them are asking, when's the last time I can put in for this COVID check?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about the extension of that till, we'll probably go till November 1st.
Okay, then the cemeteries up there, I know in Rice Lake, they are getting on it. They're gonna extend it out by 100 feet by 100 feet. The material's already coming, but just in Pine Bend, they would like just a cat up there to push wider up there even to open up. They're not really looking for fence or anything. All they want is just a cat to push, because they're running out of room over there also. And then I had a strategic planning with the church here the other night at 7 o'clock. We had a Zoom meeting, and they want to come into our community and help out what they can do. And they were looking at, as I told some of the council members this morning, talking to them, you know, I guess they were kind of looking at it as our community being under all this jobs and all of what they can do to help out. And I reminded them, I said, hey, look, your little city of Bagley is the same way, you know. I said, there's a lot of prejudice and hate goes on at school. And so between the Lutheran Church in Bagley and the Episcopal Church, we are planning different things for strategies to do what we can to break that barrier of some sort. And the update on the magazine, I did go down to the city, but The guy from Wisconsin wasn't there, so I didn't bill anything on the credit card or anything, and, this magazine's gonna take care of my mileage and stuff, so I didn't have to bill the res for nothing for that, but I put down there, the guy couldn't make it, the other guy that was part of the magazine. And I think that's a good deal that we got there, because they're gonna draft up a lot of the pictures and give it to each council member, then when the actual magazine comes out, they're gonna make sure that each council member gets one, so. With that, I say we glitch, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, you have a little
Well, ours went real good, our harvest fest, considering, you know, considering this virus, it isn't easy. You know, so they've been through a lot, and, as far as weather and I had, only trouble that I've had really was, you know, we don't have enough buildings. You know, I went through and I opened up the complex, which is, look at that again, you know. And so we're tracking down the keys and whatnot, you know, but there is everything going on at the same time, you know. And then tonight is Big Drum again, so you're all invited. Other than that, I don't see anything new going on. Cheryl, you got some?
Thank you, Ken. We wish.
you have a little report, maybe?
Well, just what I've been doing this past since I got on. I had a meeting with Economic Development on the 16th. It was a Zoom meeting, and they just updated me on some stuff they're doing. I met with White Housing on the 18th. Also on the 18th, Paulette and I went out to Pine Point and chose an office out there. I decided I'm gonna be out there on Mondays from 10 to 2, starting on October 5th. So I will be out in Pine Point every Monday for the constituents out there, and I'm so excited because I love being out there talking to people. I attended the elder meeting yesterday, which I thought went really good. It was good to hear the elder concerns, and I look forward to working with every one of them. In the future, I'm looking forward to going to Cass Lake, Minneapolis and Iron Range. I need to get out there and meet our people out there. I still haven't set a date on that, but that's coming. We did get we got a lady that called and was wondering who upkeeps the roads, the Net Lake Road and the Bass Lake Road. And also the Oshkinaway Landing is not accessible, I guess. I don't know if there's rice out there. Is that what she said? There's rice out there, and they're not able to, I don't know, get into that landing. Yeah.
So you like Michael Bowman going to a road or something, or what was it?
I have no idea if the landing, would that be roads or would it be natural resources?
Yeah, Monica, you should check out Monica.
Okay.
Okay.
And let's see, I think that's all I have besides. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's it.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yep.
All right, guys, I guess next up, we're gonna do a little 10-minute break, so, and after that, we'll have Lori Thompson talk about elections and, GOTV, so. You guys, see you in 10 minutes.